In this video, I am going to demonstrate how to complete the Blast Off to Mars CoSpaces summative. So if you play this, you'll notice the rocket door opens, the astronaut walks to the rocket, goes up the steps, the door closes, the rocket takes off. You're going to be able to see that the rocket is actually moving because you're going to see the ground. So you can see the rocket is taking off, and eventually it's going to switch the view to Mars, and the rocket is going to land. The door is going to open. The astronaut's going to come out, and he is going to, or she is going to say, "I made it to Mars." Okay, so you're going to complete that. So start out by opening CoSpaces. If I scroll down, you'll see this. Log into CoSpaces. Create a new CoSpaces. Go to an empty scene. For the environment, you're going to choose the grassy plain, and then we are going to rename that Earth. Okay, so when you're in CoSpaces, you're going to create a CoSpace. You're going to choose an empty scene. Once the empty scene is open, in the bottom left corner, go to Environment and Edit. Choose the grassy plain, which is this one right here, the second row, second column. And then in the top left corner, we're going to click on this picture icon right here. Okay, and notice that this scene is called Scene 1. Instead of Scene 1, we are going to rename this Earth. And I will hit enter. And then you can click on this little blue picture image to close this box. And you could also close, well, I'm going to leave this open because the next step is we're going to go to the library. So let me go back to the instructions. We're on adding the rocket and astronaut. So in the bottom left corner, we're going to go to transport, and we're going to drag the rocket to kind of the middle left of our scene. Rotate the rocket so its door is facing towards the right. And then we're going to grab the character, rotate the astronaut so he or she is facing the rocket. And then we're going to turn on use in code blocks for each one because we're going to be coding both of those. Okay, so let's go back to CoSpaces and click Library in the bottom left corner. Go to Transport, and then let me just get this out of the way here. If you go to the right a couple of times, you're going to see the rocket. You're going to drag this kind of over towards the left-hand side of your scene. You can kind of see, let me see if I zoom, this is the door right here. So we're going to go to rotate, and we're going to rotate it so the door is kind of facing to the side there because that's what's going to open for the astronaut to go through. Okay, so rotate that so the door is on the side, and then I'm going to go to characters, and if you scroll about three times, you're going to see two different astronauts. I didn't want this one with the arms out, so I just picked this one right here, which I believe comes through as astronaut woman, which is perfect. Drag that over towards the right of your rocket, and then I'm going to rotate the astronaut so she is facing towards the rocket. And then for each of these, you're going to double click or right click, go to code, and say use in code blocks. Code, use in code blocks. Okay, so hopefully you have all of that done. And I'm going to go back and look at the next step. So we're going to add a path. Okay, add a path to have the astronaut walk to the rocket. So we're going to go to library, go to special. We're going to drag a straight path into the scene. Look at this important step right here. Important. Okay, drag the left end near the astronaut's feet and the right end to the base of the rocket. So let's do that first. Okay, so let's go to library in the bottom left, go to special, and you're going to see this straight path. It has the little two blue diamonds on the side. Okay, I want you to drag that out onto your environment. And then one of the ends has to go to the rocket and one of the ends has to go to the astronaut. I've learned through trial and error. If you just take this one that's closest to the astronaut and pull it to the astronaut and pull this one to the rocket, when you play your scene, the astronaut walks backwards. It goes backwards. So you have to take this one. Let me just see if I can get rid of this. It's not letting me. There we go. Okay, take this one on this side and drag that over to the to the astronaut's feet. Grab this blue one and move that over to the rocket. Now, it looks like it's going perfectly from the astronaut to the rocket, and it very well may be. But remember, we're in kind of a 3D environment, so you really should rotate your plane and kind of see, and it is doing pretty well. Okay, I'm going to keep this selected because what we're going to do is this part has to go up into the door of the rocket. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a bend on this line. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. Maybe I can close this. Okay. So maybe maybe the astronaut will go from here to maybe here or so, and then start going up into the rocket. So let me see if I can even zoom in more. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to right click, or you could double click or right click on the line to bring this up. You're going to go to edit path. Once you do that, you can put, anywhere you click on the line, it's going to put a bend. So now we have this yellow bend. So now I can click on this blue one on the end and I can go to my lift and I can lift it up. See that? Okay. And then I can go ahead and, oh gosh, I wish I had, maybe I can move my camera, but I wish I had a closer up view here. Let me just use my arrow keys and see if it'll get me over there. Not really. I might probably have to move my camera. Let me see if I move my camera. No, I'm going to Control Z and move my camera back. All right. So you can see my line is not going to my rocket. So I'm going to move this over kind of here. I'm going to move this over. And let me just zoom out and see what's going on here with my astronaut and move this over. And oops, look at now. You can see it's way off again. So you want to try to get it so it looks like the astronaut's going to walk up into the rocket. Okay, and this is a little bit of trial and error and playing around with it. So just do the best you can with it. And then after we play it, you might have to go back and make adjustments. Okay, but for right now, we'll leave it like that. That looks pretty decent. Okay, so we just did all of this part right here. So now we're going to create code to have the astronaut walk to the rocket. And I did do a screenshot. And I also have the step-by-steps. So first you're going to go to code block. You're going to set the animation of the rocket to open because we want the rocket's door to open. We're going to wait a second, and then we're going to set the animation of the astronaut to walk. So let's go back to CoSpaces, and let's click Code in the top right corner and go to Code Blocks. And we're going to go to Action, and we're going to set the animation of the rocket to open. Then we're going to go to Control, and if you scroll down, you're going to see Wait 1 second. And we're going to go back to Action. We're going to set the animation of the astronaut woman to walk. So you're going to have to scroll way down to the bottom here to get to walk. Okay, and I'm going to go back to the code. And then we're going to go to transform. Now we want the astronaut to move. So we're going to move on path. Make sure you choose the one that says move on path, okay? So go to transform, and it's this third one down, move astronaut woman on path, straight path forward in 5 seconds. I don't think I changed any of that. Move astronaut woman on path straight forward. No. And then we're going to close the rocket door. So we're going to set animation of the rocket to close. I'm going to go back and do that. I'm going to go to actions. The top block says set animation of. We're going to go rocket. And instead of don't animate, we're going to say closed. Okay. And then we still have to, and then it says you may have to make adjustments to your path to ensure the astronauts move properly towards the door. We know that. Number 8, to ensure that we can no longer see the astronaut, we're going to click transform and choose move astronaut 3,000 meters in 0 seconds. This basically just like kind of, because sometimes, when you're trying to get the astronaut in the rocket, it kind of looks, you can maybe see a little bit of the astronaut, or as the rocket's taking off, the astronaut's still sitting there. So when we have the astronaut move 3,000 meters, like it's going like way out in 0 seconds, it's like you can't even see it happen because in 0 seconds it's happening so quickly, you can't even see it happen. It's just like the astronaut's disappearing, which is perfectly fine. And then we're going to wait for 1 second. So move astronaut 3,000 meters forward in 0 seconds. So let's go back to transform. It's the very first block. Move astronaut woman, instead of 1 meter, I'm going to type in 3,000 meters forward, and instead of 1 second, I'm going to put a 0 seconds. Okay, and then I think I had a wait block. Is that what it was? Yeah, wait for 1 second. Okay, so let's go back to control, scroll down, do wait for 1 second. Okay, let's go ahead and click play and see what happens. So when I hit play, the door opens. The astronaut walks to the stairs. Okay, so I should move my little, and everything works except for I think I have to move my little dot a little bit closer. So I'm going to scroll in. I'm going to click on here. I think I had to move that up a little. And then I'm going to play it again. And I should have probably rotated my plane to make sure that I was still even. But okay, that's pretty good. I probably would maybe move it up even just a tiny bit more. I can click on this line. Okay, let's try that. I'm going to hit play again. And then there goes my astronaut. Up. Oh, that's perfect. Okay, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Hopefully that you were able to do the same thing. Okay, add another camera to show the rocket taking off. So notice the camera is pointing down at the rocket. So we're going to go to Library, choose Special, click Camera. We're going to turn on use in CoBlocks because we are going to use this camera. We're going to right click and choose attach, click it to the very tip of the rocket, rotate the camera so it's facing down, and then move it up. Okay, so a lot of steps here. So I'm going to close my code. In the bottom left corner, I'm going to click on library. If I can move this out of the way. Okay, click on library, go to special. I'm going to drag a camera out onto the work plane there. I'm going to double click on it under code. I'm going to choose using CoBlocks. Okay, I need to zoom out a little so I can see the top of the rocket. I'm going to either double click or right click and go to attach. And I'm going to click the blue dot right at the top of the rocket. So now it's attached, but it's facing the wrong way. We want it to face down. So I'm going to go to the rotate button here, and I'm going to use the red, and I'm going to, whoops, let me just see if I can zoom out a little. I'm going to use the red line, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees down. And then we don't want it overlapping the rocket, so I'm going to use this up and down arrow, and I'm going to pull it up a little. And what that's going to allow us to do is, if you recall from my scene when the rocket was taking off and you can kind of see the grass above it or below it, that's like the view of the rocket taking off. Okay, so that's what we just did right there. All right, create code to have the rocket take off. So now the rocket actually has to move. So we're going to go back to code. We're going to click actions and choose switch to camera 1. So that's this purple one. And then we're going to click transform and say move rocket XYZ. So let's just do that really quick. Oh, this is an important one. If you do not see this block, select settings at the bottom of the block. This is one of your advanced blocks. You have to click settings and choose advanced blocks. So let's just do the switch to camera first. So let's go to purple and go to switch to camera 1. So let's go back to code in the top right. Let's go to actions. Let's scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see switch to camera. It's the bottom block down here. Switch to camera 1. That's our new camera. Okay. Can everybody see settings in the bottom left corner here of your code? Click on settings, and you have two options, either beginner CoBlocks, they just give you a few blocks, or advanced. Go ahead and click advanced, and it shows every single block that's available to you. So that's what you're going to need to do. And then go to the blue transform, and you're going to find the one that says move to an XYZ position in a certain number of seconds. Okay, so it's the second block here. Move, and whoops, I put it in the wrong place. But instead of astronaut woman, we're going to move the rocket to XYZ in 1 second. And then we have to change the settings. So our Z value is going to be 300, and it's going to take us 10 seconds to take off. So 300 for Z. So in Z instead of 0, type 300. And seconds instead of 1, you're going to put 10. Okay. Let's go back. We're going to add the Mars scene. So we have to click the image icon in the top left. We're going to do a new scene, empty scene. We're going to change it to the sand, which is the second option. We're going to name it Mars. Okay, so let's do all that first. So I'm going to close my code. In the top left corner, I'm going to click the little image icon over here. In the bottom left, I'm going to click where it says new scene. You are going to choose an empty scene again. Okay, we're going to click environment. Well, you know what, before we do that, let's take the scene and name it Mars over here on the left. And then you can just click this to close it. Now go to environment and go to edit in the bottom left. Okay, I want you to choose this sandy one, the second scene. And then over here under filters, choose night because we want it to kind of look like it's nighttime, right? So we're going to choose that, and then I'm going to close the environment, okay? All right, so we just did steps 1 through 5. Step 6, go back to your Earth scene, click code in the top right, and add to the bottom of the thread. Okay, so this is going to get us to Mars. So in the top left, let's click our image scene again. Click Earth to go back to Earth. In the top right, let's go back to our code. And we're just going to add to the bottom. And what we're going to add is go to scene Mars. This is the block that's already there. So don't add another one of these blocks. We're just adding go to scene Mars. So I'm going to go to control. And if you scroll down kind of far, you're going to find go to scene, no scene. We're going to change that to Mars. Okay. All right. Let me see if it'll work. I'm going to hit play and let's see what happens. So the rocket opens, the astronaut walks over, goes up the stairs, rocket closes, and then the rocket starts going. And again, we set this for 10 seconds. If you want to do it a little shorter than 10 seconds, you can, but I have it set for 10 seconds, and then we're on the Mars scene. Okay, perfect. So everything works so far. If it doesn't work, you should probably stop and problem solve at this point, okay? All right, we have to add the astronaut and the rocket to the Mars scene. So we're going to drag them back out onto the scene just like we did in Earth. So I'm going to go back to CoSpaces. I'm going to go to my image scene over here and make sure we select Mars. And then I'm going to close this out so it's not in the way. I'm going to open my library. I'm going to go to transport again. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to grab the rocket ship. This time I'm going to leave the door facing forward because after the rocket lands, we're going to have the door open forward. Maybe I'll rotate it a little bit. The door open forward and then the rocket come out from the front. Okay, so we have that. And then I'm going to go to characters. I'm going to grab the astronaut woman again and place the astronaut woman there. And I don't know, did I say where to put it specifically? Drag the astronaut into the scene, drag the rocket, turn on code blocks for each one, drag the astronaut so he's inside the rocket. Okay, before we put him inside the rocket, let's double click on each one and turn on using code blocks. Okay, now I'm going to close this. Okay, now we're going to take the astronaut and drag it inside the rocket so we cannot see it. So I'm going to place it about here. I'm going to lift it up. And then you can just kind of, do what you need to do to make sure you cannot see the astronaut at all. The astronaut's tucked inside the rocket ship, which is where we want the astronaut because she's going to be walking out of the rocket, right? Okay, so we have to create code to have the rocket actually land on Mars. And I think we're almost done. Let me see. Oh, yeah, we only have about 4 more things to do. Okay, guys. So select